Yo, happy Monday. Welcome back, guys, to Wolf Bitcoin and back to our just about daily live analysis of Bitcoin and the crypto markets, sponsored by Public, which you can check out at public.com/wolf. Public is the incredible sponsor of this show, but you can go check them out. They are a they're an investing platform, a brokerage, right? But they like to call themselves an investing platform for those who take it seriously, and I'd agree with that. They are leaning into some of this latest tech like AI. So if you are looking for a brokerage that is moving with the times and that's incorporating AI and agents to give you more options, more opportunities, then you definitely need to go check out Public at public.com/wolf. Welcome back, guys. See some of you guys already jumping in. What's up, Goat? What's up, William? Appreciate the reposts and the likes. As always, these shows are not here for financial advice. We're not giving buy sell recommendations. We're just doing this for educational and entertainment purposes. We're just sharing some chart analysis, and that's something that anyone can pull up. Anyone can pull up any of the stuff that we're talking about here and follow along. But it's really just for the purposes of educating, sharing our opinion, our read on these markets, and just to get people interested in markets in general, get people interested in learning more about these financial markets, some of these assets, some of the skills around how to read this information, this data on these charts. That's pretty much what we're doing here. But we appreciate you guys as you're coming in. If you would make sure to like the stream, give it a repost if you'd be so kind. Come in, hang out with us if you are available. Jump in the chat or drop a comment, and I will try my best to make sure I don't miss any of that. But welcome back, guys. Another Monday, another week. We're down to, I mean, we're down to the nitty gritty here, right? What do we have? 8 days and 6 hours remaining before the close of the month. 8 days, 6 hours before the close of the month. A lot can happen in those 8 days in 6 hours. So it's probably going to be a good time, whether we go higher from here or we go lower. We'll kind of check it out. We'll look at a couple different time frames, give the weekly update since we haven't talked in a few days. We'll go over some of this stuff. We'll see what looks interesting. See if there's anything that's jumping out at us. But appreciate you guys coming and hanging. William says feels like these next couple weeks are going to reveal a lot about where we're at. Yeah, 100%, man. It's a huge a huge close coming up, right? Because we're not just closing the month. We're closing the quarter, the second quarter of the year, Q2, and we're also closing the first half of the year as well. So this is a pretty big deal. Not as big as like the year end stuff, right? Where you're closing the year, but it's pretty big. It's kind of up there with that level. So yeah, it'll be pretty telling. Like with most things, we can draw some probabilities, some likelihoods from all of this. Even though it is a big close coming up, it still doesn't give us absolute certainty about everything, but it can at least give us maybe a little bit of edge. Give us a leaning at least in terms of what to be expecting. But looking at Bitcoin, let's zoom out to the yearly chart here, to the 12-month chart. You guys can see that not a lot has really improved. Really, after that yearly close, we knew that the draw was likely to the downside. We've continued to see that. Again, we're coming up on nearly the halfway point for this 12-month candle. There'll be a little bit over 6 months remaining here coming up. So we're at about the halfway point. And during that time, We also, let's see how this looks here. Yeah, look, we're at about the 50% of that big yearly candle that we are currently taking back some of those 2024 gains here. So, um, pretty interesting here in terms of the candle range. You know, we're right here, right at that 50%. Um, Big level to watch is going to be down here close to about that 75% of this candle, and then even going to that 100% retracement. So, plenty of room, plenty of room. If we were to make a move towards the bottom of this, I mean, yeah, I think you're looking at about a 30% to 30 to 40% move that could still happen here for BTC. Let's go to the 6 month. We know where that last year low is, which is right here. Um, let's label it out. I think I had it somewhere in here, but it's impossible to know which one of these it was. Let's just label it brand new. So this is, we're going to call this, and let's just repurpose it to previous year low. So that's the low of last year. And then this is the current year. Let's go to the 6 month. Nothing really to add there. The previous 6 month low is up here right below the previous month low. I mean, I guess we can mark that out just if we wanted as well. Let's call that the previous 6 month low. We'll throw that up there. And then quarter, we do not have a quarterly low on here. Let's throw a quarterly low on here. Why is that not on there? I've got no idea. I have to have this one somewhere. Hold on here. This one has to be on here somewhere. Sweet glow. Hold on here, guys. We'll find it. There it is. Okay. I knew I had it. So there's last quarter's low. Let's go to the month. There's the last month low and high. So we're good there. And then for the weekly levels, we've got that last week labeled on there as well. All right. So we've got some clean levels to look at here. And of course, we've got last year's low off of that. Let's clean this one up too. That's a little crazy. Yeah, there we go. There we go. That's what we're looking at. So those are all the big levels. You know, the weekly ones change every single week, right? And the month ones change every single month. But these I usually allow the indicator that I'm using to draw these. So that way I don't have to keep redrawing them every single week. So I would just use the Gentleman Suite to put them on there. But I do got to go down to a daily time frame for them to show up. There we go. Which is fine. Which is fine. All right, that looks cool. So here we are. Look, currently we are getting still a little bit of an attempted push to the upside. We talked a lot about this last week on Spaces. I also talked about it on the last two FOMO Fridays with Lady Trader, and I think we also talked about it the last two Friday nights with Landy as well. We covered this whole area down here, the range and this price action and what's currently happening. So nothing there is really, or shouldn't be at least, really surprising to us. Price is still trying to push a little bit higher. A key area to watch now is going to be this low of last week here at about 60. What is that at? Like 62.3, call it, right? 62.3 pretty much. So currently moving away from that. We are still setting daily higher lows here. So we are setting some daily higher lows. We did set a higher high here relative to the one from the 7th. Let's see if we can get another push here now that we've got another higher low. Let's see if we can get another push in to put another daily higher high on BTC here. But overall, things are still kind of just chopping around, mostly sideways, with a hint of trying to go a little bit higher down here. The channel we were watching here was broken. You could probably put on a wider channel at this point. We may do that. The thing that is worth noting is we talked a lot about this W, and so far, this is still, it's a little off maybe from what we were kind of aiming for, but it's still potentially in play. It's still potentially in play. Where I think this gets violated is if it comes back down here and sweeps that previous week low. But right now, look, we were projecting up here, didn't quite go as high. We were projecting a pullback here to like around 64, right below 64. It went below 64. Like, so far, that's okay. Can we get this follow through now here to take us to a new high and then for another push? And it's probably not going to go straight up here to these levels that I'm looking at. It probably means it's going to push a little bit, pull back, look for another higher low, and then attempt to go up. But at the same time, it could surprise us and it could have a nice little squeeze to the upside. So not looking too bad. I'd say we did pretty well in calling that this type of price action, had the potential to occur. So I think we did a pretty fair job of that. Regardless how the next couple months go, how do you think we're gonna do in Q4 and Q1 of 27? Should we finally start moving? Yeah, 100%. Like if we're following the data that we have, William, we should be again, and it's impossible to know. It's impossible to know. But if we look at the history that we do have, markets or the crypto markets should be looking to bottom. Bitcoin should be looking to bottom here later this year. And then it should start to form a nice little base to go higher sometime starting next year. And there's been some past cycles where Q1 can actually be pretty bullish for the crypto markets. So a lot of the altcoin charts that I am looking at, and maybe we'll go through some here if we have a little bit of time towards the end of this, but a lot of those altcoin charts, if you look at them on a quarterly chart, they look like, this new quarter is likely still to be putting in maybe some lows or to still be kind of hanging out down here. And they're showing the potential for either Q4 of this year or Q1, maybe Q2 of next year to actually be where they get a little bit of expansion, I would assume, to the upside. So yeah, it's looking quite interesting. I think time is the factor here that everyone tries to rush, but I think if there's an element, like there's a piece here of like patience, right? Like if we're patient, I think some of these things will finish setting up and really manifest in the future here. So not looking bad. I think not looking bad as long as you have the proper time horizon and you're understanding that these things can take a little bit more time than what people would like them to take, right? So what is this post I'm seeing here, man? There's some crazy stuff being shared out today. Yeah, people are doing some crazy stuff. All right, but anyways, hopefully that because I truly don't know, right? But I'm assuming if data follows what it's done in the past, that's a potential. The other thing I would say here, though, man, that 50% of previous week level, this level right here is the one that's given it a little bit of a hard time here. Look, if there's a short to be had for this week, this is probably where it would have to set up. Maybe something like that. I'd be putting that stop up there for now. Look, you're at about a 1-to-1 risk to reward currently in here where price is currently at, meaning if you're looking to short, and I know some of you guys are, but if you're looking to take a short position here where price currently is, you're in validation. If you put it above that high, a high of the month, I don't know if it's the high. Yeah, it's the high from last week. Yeah. Okay. So if you put it behind the high of last week and you're targeting the low of last week, you're pretty much at a perfect 1-to-1 risk to reward, meaning, you'd be risking 4% to make 4%, right? It's a 1-to-1. Whereas if it was a 2-to-1, you'd be risking 4 to make 8, right? If that makes sense. So right now it's 50-50. It's a coin toss, right? It's 50-50. You're either going to win 4% or you're going to lose 4%. But I think right now, this is where a lot of people are probably looking for that short. You're at about the 50% of that last week range, right? So we're right smack in the middle of the previous week range. You can also see that there's a very nice gap here on the volume profile. And that is due to the fact that, this is kind of the bottom area of all of this. So you don't have a lot of chop and a lot of trading that occurred down here, but there was a lot of support that was provided here. So there was definitely some demand that happened here in this area. So interesting place. I mean, if you're bearish, this is probably where you're paying attention. This is probably where you're paying a little bit of attention. Now, one of the things that could be setting up, like just to try and be as neutral and just stoic about current price action, is if you are forming a range here, right? If there is a range to be formed here, like a horizontal range, a lot of times the way you can trade these is a deviation either below the bottom of the range or a deviation above the high of the range. If they don't truly break out, like if those moves don't get acceptance and get continuation, those end up just being sweeps, sweep of a high, sweep of a low, and then you trade back across the range. So like some of the some of the better trades when you do have a range, and we don't know yet if there's going to be a range here, but if you do have a range, some of the best trades are playing exactly that. You're playing essentially a deviation that maybe comes slightly outside of the range and then does something like that. And you're looking to trade this, leave a little bit of room here for your stop, right? You give yourself some room and you let it run clear across the range. And there's also the opposite of that. Where if you're not playing to the long side, you might be playing that same thing, but you're doing it to the short side, right? You might be looking for a move that comes up, just breaches the high, does not find acceptance, and ultimately gets slapped right back down that range high, comes back. Sometimes if you're lucky, it'll give you that retest and then just goes clear across the range again. And in that case, you're taking a similar trade. You're kind of putting your stop a little bit above and you're looking to get it down all the way across the range to the other side. So there may be some trades here. I will be paying attention if this does fail here where it currently is. If it were to come down, I will look for the potential that it sweeps and then tries to reclaim and then go back across and at least get back to the halfway point. I don't know that I'm convinced that it would go all the way back up here on a sweep, but I think there's a potential it could at least get back up here to like the halfway point. I did say we were going to throw a channel on this, and we'll throw one on here in a sec because I do see the potential that something like this could still be in play. Like if you align these lows here on the 4 hour, that is still, yeah, I would probably build it like this. Because if I put it all the way at the high, I don't like it at the high. As a matter of fact, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. I'm just being nitpicky now, but let's say you grab it bottom to top. You could be getting a rejection here at kind of like the midpoint of this volatility range as well. But this could chop in here for a little bit too. This could chop in here where it's just sitting here pinned up against this. What happens if we grab a bars pattern from this move here to the top? Let's just see what that looks like. So if we did something like this and we said, okay, that's what it kind of did last time. I mean, that still makes sense. I think this is what, I don't know if Goat is still on here watching, but this Goat, I think this is what we discussed, right? It's like, this was kind of the scenario I was looking for, is a move back above last week's high, comes up here. If it overshoots for some reason, right? If it overshoots this, like maybe it goes a little bit higher, right? Like maybe it breaks the channel, swings up near 70, somewhere up there, and then ultimately pulls back a little bit, and then we'll know on that pullback if it's just coming back for like a range high pullback here to this previous high, and then it wants to go again, or if it finds itself getting stuck back inside the channel, and then it's kind of doing something like that, which ultimately would probably lead to a breakdown here, and then you'd probably get that next move down if something like that happened. But this could drag on a little bit longer than any of us are expecting. We know these ranges can go on for quite a bit, but yeah, this to me is still looking like something like this is potentially playing out, where this maybe grinds up here between, I don't know, grinds up here between like 64.5 and 65.5 for a little bit until it decides to have an impulsive push to the upside that comes back to either challenge last week's high for a little bit and bump up against it, or it just shoots through it, starts to kind of distribute a little bit, and then it comes back. Will doesn't day trade, just buy and wait. Yeah, I think I've understood that about you. Yeah. If I had 30K in stables right now, what would I start DCAing? I'd still be waiting. For me, for DCA strategies, I'd still be waiting, dude. I'd still be waiting. I not only do I think you could probably get better entries, but I think you would get more certainty, which would let me sleep better at night, right? Because I'd be like, yeah, I'm pretty confident the bottom is near or close, right? So yeah, I think for me, for DCA, I'm not really interested in for a few more months. When I start to see the alts really start turning in terms of like dominance against BTC, like once you start seeing total 3, which total 3 still hasn't really been able to recover here, even though others is doing okay, right? Others is doing okay. It's still still kind of on its correction here, on its little bit of a pullback, but at least it's trying to break above, right? It's above previous highs. Total 3 isn't. So I'd be waiting. I'd wait for this to probably shoot up quite a bit higher. I'd wait for this to make a break or have some kind of market structure shift. It still hasn't had anything here. I'd be waiting for stablecoin dominance to probably start breaking down aggressively. This will be a huge sign, by the way. If this is still going higher, William, then you really shouldn't be looking for bottoms just yet. Stables going higher means people are still selling everything, really. So they're selling all their crypto holdings and they're still stabling up. We need to find a top in stables. It was only until a top was in on stables and that it came down, broke structure after that high was put in, right? So you can think of it as like this was your distribution range up here. This was the bottom of the last bear market cycle, which was the top for stables. We need to build a range, right? You need to build a range where that kind of distributes up here. Once that breaks and structure breaks, then you're like, all right, there's some clues coming in here that maybe that low is in. Right now, we still don't have it. It's still too early. We either need this to spend more time doing something like that, build a nice range for us, and then break down below it. And then if it gives us something like this, then we're like, all right, game on. This thing is heading back this way. And then this is where risk on really starts to shine. But right now, we don't have that. Right now, we're still, by the looks of it, this thing still has the potential to break higher from here, right? This thing could just be chopping here, does one more leg down, and then continues up. If this were to break out like this to the upside, everything is going to just melt. Whatever support you think is being built right now is not going to do a whole lot of supporting if this happens. That floor is going to turn into lava. It is going to melt. and things are just going to just fall. All of those coins that right now are building up like supports, right? They look like they're basing out, or they look like they're even heading higher a little bit. Stablecoin dominance goes up, these things are just going to free fall. They are going to melt so fast, you're not going to believe it. They're just going to absolutely go parabolic to the downside. That is the current risk still. So this is why I am still being patient. Until we know that stables are going lower and are done going higher, it's not time yet. We need confidence that this is going lower. One of the things that would give me some confidence is a move below here. If this thing starts heading lower and it takes that out, not in a sweep kind of way that does like something like that. I don't want to see a sweep and then come back into the range. I don't want to see that. That would tell me it's coming back up to the top of the range. I would want to see this thing melt down through it, get some distance away from this floor, and then chop back up to it. Like chop back up to it for like a retest. Oh boy, we'll know. When it comes back for that retest, this is where we'll be looking to position. We're going to be all over this, because if that starts heading lower, man, this will be our entries right here on that pullback after a big drop. So I think we still have to wait. I still think we have to wait. This thing is telling us keep being patient. If there's a move lower, it'll come. You know, you could probably put like a little channel on this or something as well, and just kind of be observing at what point does something like this also break. Right? Wait for this to break down. But this is your first requirement here. You got to take out this low. This last low that was put in here. Hopefully that helps a little bit. And that's a more macro take. So I think it fits with kind of like what you're looking for. It's not really like this isn't like a day trading strategy in terms of breaking this low. This would definitely be like a macro signal. It taking out this low from back here in May. Let's look at Bitcoin dominance. Oh boy, man, did we not call this? I mean, man, guys, we nailed this one. We nailed this one. We drew this before the W had even W'd down here. We drew this before any of this had happened. I think we had just had that first leg, maybe the pump. I don't know if we had even come down for this right side here. But we said, look, this thing's probably going to shoot up, give a pullback to the neckline of the W. This is the exact same strategy I gave you guys on everything. We drew this freaking W on just about every single thing. We drew it on XRP. I know for a fact we put it on Solana. I know for a fact we put that W on Solana. There it is. There it is. Why? Because it's the same W that Bitcoin was doing. It's the exact same W that we were looking at for BTC. We said, you know what? This is probably going to do it here. We also said if that does happen, if you do get that W, that means Bitcoin dominance would pump while others' dominance would pull back. Let's go see if that's the case. We said Bitcoin dominance would pump while others' dominance would pull back. And there you have it. There's your pullback and your others' dominance starting to come back a little bit after breaking above that last quarter high and sweeping the previous 6-month high. We talked about this. We said this was likely to sweep, come back down somewhere down here and try and base around these highs here, right? So we're still kind of waiting. We're still waiting for this to come base. And then I think that shoots up, alts go crazy. And you'll also have confluence with this. This will continue going higher here while the alts correct. And then this will, when this rolls over, at whichever point it rolls over, I don't know how high it'll go before it rolls over. But at whatever point that rolls over, whether that's a failure up here or whether that's a failure, somewhere around here, something like that, like somewhere in here, there's a failure. Whenever this starts to come back down, that's where your alts will absolutely start getting some speed. When Bitcoin dominance finishes putting in this extension here, right? Because it did the W, it pulled back. This now needs to take out the current high. It needs to take out this swing high that it put in here. If it does that, this will probably pick up some speed. When this starts to correct and want to come back down, when it starts doing this, this is where we pay attention to the alts. Alts are going to put in massive moves on any kind of a correction after a move like that from Bitcoin dominance. When this starts trending down, alts are going to go crazy. So that's what we'll want to be paying attention to. It's just not time yet. Right now, if this starts going higher, alts are either going to stay flat or alts are going to pull back a little bit as Bitcoin dominance goes higher. So we just have to be cautious. We have to be cautious here. Some of them will still be pumping. Yes, there'll be some examples that are outliers. But as a whole, if this starts pumping for BTC dominance, typically alts kind of take a backseat. They take a backseat. So we need to see if this is going to play out. The way we'll know is taking out that swing high. If it takes that swing high out, we got to wait. We got to wait, let this thing cool off. As it's pulling back, alts will get a run. Once this thing starts basing and starts wanting to go higher again, alts will take a back seat again. When this starts pulling back again, alts will run. This starts finding a bottom and getting ready to go again, alts will step back and let Bitcoin do its thing, right? It's an alternation between those. So we just got to chill. We got to sit tight, be patient. Oh, shoot. X is tripping again. Looks like we're still good, though. Looks like we're still live, even though X is acting a little silly. Let me give it a refresh. No, we're still good. We're still good. Let me know if we're still good. I think we're still good. X looks a little weird, but it says we're still live. It says we still have viewers. So I think we're still good. I believe we're still good. Yeah. Man, those Wolf Trading guys, they get some views on that stream. Shout out to the Wolf Trading fellas. What else did we need to look at? Let's double check DXY really quick. Okay. DXY still moving away from this range that it was kind of stuck in here for a little bit. So we did get a breakout above. It is moving to the upside. While VIX, While VIX is trying to get back above this like 17 to 18 level. It's not quite there. It's trying. If VIX can flip this, though, here's where we got to be careful, right? If VIX can flip this and then it starts to go higher, that volatility might get interesting. That volatility might get interesting for us. So keep an eye on it. Usually when VIX is moving to lows like this, these are usually really good take profit opportunities. Really good take profit opportunities. And then when it moves into these spikes like this, these are really great buying opportunities. Like you wait for this spike to play out and then you position. Some really, really great opportunities. Go back and back test that yourself. Pull up VIX. Look at those dates and times of when the spikes and the dips happen, and then go look at whatever favorite asset you have and see if there's any kind of correlation there between those. S&P looking pretty flat still. NQ also still looking pretty flat up here, pretty close to all-time highs still. Hanging out at all-time highs. Let's see if Bitcoin is getting that pullback. We were talking about we're going to put up the 4-hour dub. Let's zoom in here. Yeah, look, it's pulling back a little bit. This was a pretty vertical move, though, so that's to be expected. Let's see if it sweeps maybe some of these levels down here without taking out this low. ideally this low stands here. So even if this move comes down, takes here, you kind of see it do something like that. I wonder if there's is there an example where we can take something similar? Yeah, I mean, there's we could probably take from some of these, but it's the same thing. Like basically, it's this. Even if this is doing this and it does something like that, and then tries to do something like that, like maybe something like that's happening. On the old biddy. Ethereum kind of following BTC. ETH BTC is still sideways. No real breakout or breakdown from ETH BTC. I know we were watching that. So that's still kind of just hanging out. Ethereum, or not Ethereum, XRP is lagging. XRP is kind of lagging. Still showing a little bit of like downside leaning right here, actually. Litecoin, same. Litecoin, I think that's why we got it paired here with XRP. Is they're kind of both laggards. They're just not really doing much. Solana's looking pretty good. Solana's recovered better than BTC has even. So Solana's kind of leading at the moment. Let's look at Sol BTC because that is interesting that Solana's leading a little bit. This is why. Yeah, there you go. This is absolutely why. Solana is currently outperforming against BTC. That's looking pretty good. Let's see if, yeah, that's actually not looking bad. Okay. Very, very interesting from Solana here. So look, Sol BTC, if Solana against the BTC pair can close the month, and again, there's 8 days and 6 hours remaining. If in the next 8 days and 6 hours, Solana against BTC, so the Sol BTC pair, if it can stay above here, I think we're going to see a pump. I think we're going to see a nice little pump for Sol against BTC, which means that Solana's USD pair should get some upside as well. This could look pretty nice for Sol BTC here. This could actually look pretty good. Where's that PQH? There we go. How come that doesn't look straight? Hold on. Is that straight? Okay, I guess that is straight. So there's that PQH right there, PQL. Yeah, this looks pretty good. This looks pretty good. Let's clean that up again here for Sol BTC. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and label on Sol BTC last month low and the high for last month as well. There we go. And we'll leave the weekly levels to the gentleman's suite. But let's see here. So on a monthly, yeah, this isn't looking bad. Look, that there you had it. You essentially had a nice deviation here. Cleanup of the lows. We've now moved away from it. You've got a higher high and a higher close. Even if this week or next week were to pull back, ultimately I'm looking for a higher low, and I think that this should continue higher. So even with a pullback, I think you're probably just looking for this, and then you're going to end up getting another move higher here for Sol BTC. So Sol BTC looks pretty good. You guys know how I feel about Solana long term, but that doesn't look bad, man. Does not look bad. William says we're good. All right, thanks, man. Arrow, we'll go look at Arrow. Yeah. So Sol BTC, this looks pretty interesting. Let's go back to Sol USDT. So if Sol is looking strong, and let's hide all this stuff that we had here for Solana. So if Sol is looking good, yeah, that looks good. That looks good to me. That looks good to me here. This trying to go higher. Doesn't mean it can't pull back. I mean, heck, it could even pull back and sweep this low here one more time. You could still have one more sweep of here as long as you have a reclaim back above, and then you could still have a push up. But you don't want to find acceptance back below this level. You don't want to see Solana hanging back below here very long, back below 67.50-ish. Right? What was this low? And I'll tell you exactly. 67.50. You don't really want to see it hanging out back below 67.50. You want it to hold above. If it wicks down below 67.50, no biggie. But you don't really want to see closes and a lot of time spent under that if this is going to try and go higher from here. Okay. That's my read on it, my opinion here. But that's what I'm seeing. We'll be cautious on a move up to here on Solana, just for the potential risk that it might do that. There is a chance that it could sweep that up here by the EMAs and then just roll over. So we'll be cautious here. But I do think that if it gives a pullback in the short term, so if in the short term, again, you saw a move like this in the short term that doesn't hang out below that 67.5, I will be looking to position long on a pullback to 67.5 or slightly below 67.5. I will look to position long for a move back up here at least to 83-ish. Maybe it goes more. Maybe that's all she does. But I will position for that. And that would look like... Yeah, see, this makes sense. Oops. This makes sense. Like, that move could just send you back up here to the top of the channel. That makes sense. Makes perfect sense. Reject here at the mid. Come down to these fib lines. Catch a bounce. After you sweep that low, head to the top. That looks pretty clean for Sol. So I'd say the Sol trade is from like 67.50 to 83.50, somewhere in there. Not a bad trade. Let's see what that would look like in terms of the actual setup here. If we were able to get that, let's put that up. So I'd be looking for something here, stop there, targeting at least here. It's almost a 3R trade. Not bad. If you're able to get it towards the upper levels up here, you know, it's closer to almost a 5R trade if you're fortunate enough to get it up there. So not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. I will absolutely take this trade. If Sol comes down here, sweeps this low again here, I will absolutely be looking to take a trade like that. 100%. 100% I will be looking to take this trade. We will take it. Okay. Arrow. Did we use the KuCoin or the Bybit? I ask this every week. I need to just bookmark one of these. I cannot remember which one is which. All right, hold on. Let's see. I think it was the KuCoin one that has the better. Yeah, KuCoin is the better one. KuCoin is the better one, 100%. Okay. So here, let's just throw a little green flaggy on it. That way we know that that's the one we use, the KuCoin one. Look, we talked about this setup here, William, and I think we're almost back at that TP level, man. We are almost. Look at that, dude. Look at that, dude. Look at that, dude. Look, man, we called that move. We said that was the TP getting back up here to the high. I am expecting a pullback here, though, right? Like, based on how I know how this chart is going to move. Like, and I don't know, when I say I know how it's going to move, I don't know as in, like, I can see the future. I know as in, like, I'm saying, like, I understand how these charts tend to move. Doesn't mean they have to. It's just this how they tend to move. And if it does that, it's probably going to get a pullback. There'll be an opportunity to reposition before it goes to TP2, which will probably give you a pullback before it goes to TP3, right? So if this does pull back, I would assume your TP2, you know, after a little while, you'll hit it somewhere around here, and then your TP3 will come a little bit later, and you'll hit that somewhere over there. So something like that. We are in. Yeah, I don't think it would take till August to hit that though. So let's clean up maybe the timing of this. I would say let's just move it over to the side just to shorten the time that it would take for this entire thing to play out. Like if it was going to do this move, even then, that seems like a long time. I still think I'm overshooting on the time here. All of this could move quite quickly once it gets going. But look, that's pretty much there, dude. That's pretty much there. So if you bought on this corrective move or you waited for the dump and then got in on momentum, either way, that's your first TP here. De-risk a little bit, wait for a pullback, and then it should go higher. If you're spot buying, there's obviously you're not taking profits, you're just holding it, right? You're just holding it. Just keep in mind that currently currently, I mean, this thing could come even up here and it would just be putting in, like even if it comes up here, it could still come lower. This is why we need that stablecoin dominance to bottom, so we know for a fact that like the low is in and it's not going any lower. From here, this thing could still come down, put in one more low, and then go off forever. It's too early to call it. We need that stable coin to absolutely be done going higher. When stables are done going higher and then we know that they're now heading lower, dude, some of these are just going to fly. Some of these things are going to absolutely fly. They're going to look incredible. I ask every time, yeah, KuCoin. I did. I got it, dude. Save it because you won't stop asking about Arrow. That's funny. I got it, dude. We tagged it. We're going to remember now. We tagged it. The Bybit one probably has good volume. Like, so in the near term, we could look at either one, but I like that the KuCoin one has more history. So it just gives me more data to work with. But yeah, I always forget on that one too. I'm like, what did we look at? There's a couple of them that I do that on. Arrow's one of them. There's another one also because they don't have like a good Binance chart, and I can't remember what the other one is, where I have to pick between I think it's BingX and Bybit or something like that. I don't know another one. Let me see here. Let me make sure I'm not missing any comments. No, looks like we're good. What do you mean you can't chat on my stream from the PC? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, but it does if X is having problems. Yeah, so if X is having problems, then yeah, you might be screwed. You got to use the app. Who knows what is going on? I mean, someone mentioned, I think it was Landy, you mentioned earlier something about like a DDoS attack or something. Maybe that's all related, but who knows? Hype due for a TP and retracement soon. Let's go check it out, dude. Let's check it out, man. Ondo's another one, by the way, that I'm watching for it to finish putting in some type of bottom. This was the entry that we were aiming for. Obviously, we don't know if it's bottomed yet, so acting now is still like front running a confirmation there. So we are still waiting on that. Let's look at Hype. But I like to throw those on there like before. See, Hype is one of them. I think I use OKX for Hype. Because I don't think I do KuCoin. I think I do OKX on this one. I mean, who knows? There's no drawings on here. So hold on here. Let's go to Hype. Okay, so never mind. It's KuCoin also. There you go. There you go. It's KuCoin on Hype also. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, I don't like that little double toppy McDonald's golden arch type looking thing here. But ultimately, I think what we said for Hype, I think it was hype, is we were waiting on that monthly close. And just we're waiting on the monthly close for almost everything, to be fair. But hype, this is the reason. If this monthly candle closes below the high of last month, then I am expecting a move back down here, close to 40 for hype again. I am looking for a move close to 40, at least, at least like 250, around 50 or so, or right below 50. Somewhere between 50 and 40, I think makes a lot of sense. If this closes here, if hype can get above 73, 11 in the next 8 days, then I think it avoids that. It potentially avoids that. It could still have a move down to like 50 to 60, but it avoids the 40s, in my opinion. If it can't do that, though, if it can't close back above here in the next 8 days, in my opinion, hype will be back close to $40. In my opinion, based on how I read this. So I'd say the clock is ticking a little bit here for Hyperliquid, in terms of avoiding significant downside versus just getting a little bit of downside. Yeah, but this isn't looking great. If you were, it's still too soon to call it, though, because in the next 8 days, you still could get a move higher to set a new high, and then it still doesn't close above here. It still ends up closing below, right? So you still could get another push in the next week. You could still set a new high, but it doesn't mean that it's not going to close back below here. This is the risk with, I know like a lot of people will see what I just said, right? That, it might come down to 40, and they're going to think, ooh, then I should short it. The problem is, if you short it now, where does your stop loss go? Well, if you short it now, you have to put it behind structure, which is right here. But with 8 days remaining, what's to say this doesn't shoot up, stop you out, close below the key level we're watching, and then go and then make the move anyways after it stops you out? Right? This is the risk with being too early to a trade that's yet to confirm. Sure, the trade could be perfectly valid. The direction could be valid. The idea could be valid, but the timing is too early. The timing is not ready. And then you get stopped out. Now, the other alternative is you say, well, I'm just going to put it back. Like I'm going to give it plenty of room. We don't know how high this move can come. If it's going to sweep one more time, it can go all the way up there and then still close down here. Like we just don't know. These scam wicks that happen at key bottoms and key tops, they are called scam wicks for a reason. You might be thinking, oh, there's no way it's going to come back here 25%, and get me. Dude, never say never, man. Never say never. So I think the safe play is, like, if you are going to do this, if I was looking to try and front run this right now, I'd be only looking at like a starter position. I'd be saying, okay, I'm going to get something to just get my foot in the door, starter position. But I'm probably being like very, very generous with the stop right now. Very, very generous. Like I'm giving it plenty of room so that it doesn't come and get it. But what that also does is that means that this position cannot be as aggressive as it needs to be. It needs to be a very light position. The safest thing, again, is just waiting. Once you know for a fact that it's done, it has swept the high and has closed back below, and okay, boom, that it's a fact that it now did it, then you can position here, and your invalidation is above that sweep. You have a clear invalidation. You're like, where am I wrong if it goes back above that sweep? Right? Like that's it. You then can get a position anywhere below this level, and you have a clear-cut invalidation. This is not up for debate. That's where it goes. Doesn't matter where you get in. This is the invalidation. Doesn't matter if you get in exactly at that level. Doesn't matter if you get in above the level. Doesn't matter if you get in below the level. Doesn't matter if you even get way down here. If you're late, that is the invalidation for every single one of those positions, because that was the deviation. This was the fake out. That was the trap move. We don't have it yet. We don't know yet. We haven't had the trap move, and we haven't had a breakdown. So right now we would just be guessing unfortunately, on hype. Let's see here. Yeah. Does that answer your question, William? As far as hype, how I'm reading hype? By the way, let me know, guys. Like, is this stuff helpful? Are you guys getting some value from me talking through these things? Or is it too elementary? Is it too basic and it's annoying or it's boring and you guys just want to look at something else? Let me know if it's valuable for me to kind of cover the logic behind positioning and how you determine where to put a stop, why you don't want to front run some of this stuff. Is this helpful? Do you guys get value from that? Let me know. You're welcome, William. See what else we got going on here. Sweet kind of did what we were. Sweet kind of did what we were talking about. It just did it a little bit lower. Okay. Interesting. It's interesting that it followed that same pattern, but it just never got the height and it never got the move to the upside. Otherwise, this would have been a good setup. But now it kind of looks like crap that it did it down here. Could it still go up here? Yes. I would say for SWE, if it's going to go higher now, I kind of want that sweep of the low. If SWE's going to go up here, I want this sweep down here, at least of this, maybe of that as well. At least like this, come up, and then I think it makes that move higher after that. I was thinking it could avoid coming all the way down here to the lows, but I guess not. It wanted to go lower. But at this point for SWE, I think it needs to come down and clean up the downside a little bit. There's some liquidity hanging out. It needs to come, take it, and then see about getting back up. And it's also not a great sign. It doesn't look all that great that it rejected an attempt to get back above the low from Feb. Because that's part of the reason why we've been semi-bullish here on BTC. We've maintained a short-term bullish and opportunistic stance on BTC because it didn't find acceptance below the February low, which was last quarter's low, right? It just had a wick, did not hold much time below it, and immediately reclaimed back into that range. Same thing with Ethereum. We had the same conditions. ETH has been, hold on, let me maximize this. ETH has been struggling though, right? So this is the problem. Ethereum was the same criteria. Took out that last quarter low. We said if it can reclaim it and hold above it, we're much more open to upside. It's having a hard time. It's not finding any acceptance above that last quarter low. So Ethereum, same as SWE, it's not looking that great. Litecoin, doing the same thing, struggling to get above that last quarter low. It is not liking getting above there. It's having a really hard time, not looking great. XRP, although XRP is above it and has been trying to defend that, it's almost back below it again, though. It's essentially back to that level. So even XRP is struggling here. Solana is really the only one that took out that level from like these majors, that took out that level and actually made a move, well above it. Again, it might come down and sweep it before it finally goes, but it's been spending the last week, the last week or so, maybe even a week and a half to 2 weeks above that level. So although it did have that deviation below, it did move back above it. So it's not doing too bad. So Solana's looking okay. We can look at some of the other ones. like ADA. We can see how ADA is doing here. Nope. ADA looks horrible. Let's do BNB. BNB is actually defending it. BNB is actually defending the low from Feb. So that's this level here. That's your last quarter low here. And BNB is in fact defending that. BNB is looking pretty good. BNB is looking pretty dang good here. From purely a defending that level perspective. Golly, what are these lines from? Oh, no way. These are drawings from when BNB was at $17, guys. Sheesh. Are you kidding me right now? Hold on here. When was that? That was ages ago. Oh, man. Back when BNB was at $17, man, and I was marking out some levels and doing who knows what down here. Oh, God. Don't you guys miss those times? We got $200 BNB now. No, more. What are we at right now? We're at $600 BNB. This is why it's fun. Sometimes you look at these charts, you come back and you're like, wow, I was trading this thing down here at, sub $20. Crazy stuff. All right, so here, let's clean up. Let's clean it all up. That was a pretty fun little find. So let's go to the quarter. All right, let's go here. Yeah, BNB actually doesn't look too bad, man. BNB looks pretty good. There's your last quarter low, last quarter high, month. We'll clean that up a little bit. Let's mark that out. Last month low, last month high. Oh, come on. All right, let's go in to the weekly for the cleanup. Okay. Boom. Let's get that tidied up a little bit. There we go. So those are the levels that we are currently watching. All right. Yeah. Look, I mean, BNB doesn't look bad. Again, if the way I would look at this is I'm trying to get a long position here as close to that low as possible, or either a move up here to the monthly range or up here to the quarterly range. So whether I'm taking a position now and putting my invalidation below here, or I'm waiting for one more sweep down and then the move higher, either way, I'm kind of looking to fish here at the bottom of this range. Looking to fish down here. So now the real homework is looking at something like this and saying, okay, what are the odds that it still needs to come down and sweep the lows versus what's this it? Was that it? And it's now ready to put in a higher high. Like, was this the deviation? You've now got a swing high here. You've got a higher low. And are we about to make a higher swing high here on this next leg up? Right? That's the question. So yeah, look, I think on an upcoming show, we'll peel this apart a little bit. We'll look at it. For those of you guys that are in like DM groups with me or over on Slice, I'll hit you guys up about this. But for everyone else, we'll look at this either on my evening streams or on tomorrow's show right here, again on Wolf Bitcoin. When we do this again tomorrow, we'll see if we can figure this out. There may still be a chance that this comes down and cleans up one more time, believe it or not. But we'll look at it a little bit more in depth on an upcoming stream, and we'll do more content about this, because this could be a fun trade. This could really be a great trade, actually, if this thing manages to find a bounce down here somewhere. That's a lot of upside there. Although I will say this bearish engulfing does not look good. That bearish engulfing on the weekly does not look good at all. But this weekly range, if we're looking at this weekly range, it is still clean to the upside. You've only had a deviation to the downside. So BNB, clean weekly range, it means to me that even if you come down and sweep one more time here, you're looking for a move to the top of that range, whether it's from current price or whether it's on a sweep. You're looking for a move up. Yeah, monthly looks rough. Weekly doesn't look great, but we can start to turn this around with a nice little impulsive move up. Wouldn't take a lot. Wouldn't take a lot at all. What are 2 or 3 other coins that you have high hopes for this coming cycle? I think BNB, like just on the subject, I think BNB is going to probably do pretty good. Yes, it's centralized, so there's some risks there. But I mean, unless you believe that Binance is going under or going away, I think it's a pretty fair bet. Ethereum, I don't think ETH is going anywhere. I think, in fact, a lot of the hate around ETH, to me, makes me pay attention even more. A lot of DeFi is on ETH, a lot of stablecoin liquidity is on ETH. So I think ETH is probably fine. Look, I think there's a case to be made that Solana, even though Solana, I think still has a lot more downside. I think it maybe makes sense if we wait for it to bottom. Could be an opportunity there. Yeah, and then probably just like Hype and some of the other up and coming protocols like that. But yeah, I think those make sense. With that, guys, look, we're about 10 minutes over on time. I am going to wrap this up here. Once again, big shout out to public.com/wolf for sponsoring today's show. Go check them out. If you've got a TradFi portfolio somewhere sitting on a brokerage that doesn't really give you a whole lot of tools and a whole lot of things to do with that, and you're kind of just like, man, I need to move this. I need to move this portfolio somewhere else. I need to put this where there's like new technology, where there's some innovation happening. Go check out public.com/wolf. I think you'll like what you'll see there. Go check it out. Do your own due diligence on Public. But they are the sponsor here of this show and other content on Wolf Bitcoin. So with that, guys, appreciate y'all. Once again, really appreciative of you guys that tune in and come and like and share and comment and all this stuff and hang out with me. You guys are great. It's the reason we do this stuff. So big shout out to all you guys. But with that, guys, we're done. We're wrapping it up for today. I think let me give you a quick upcoming schedule. Yeah, so here in a little bit under an hour at 4 p.m. Eastern, there is another space, a Bitcoin macro space on X. So it's not a stream, it's just a space. But that is at 4 p.m. Eastern here on Wolf Bitcoin. If you guys are interested in that, go check that out. Spiders, what's up, Spiders? Man, you missed it all, dude. You missed it all. You're going to have to be replay gang today. You got 1 hour to watch the replay before we hit the BTC macro space, and then we'll probably see you over there, dude. But with that, guys, I'm out. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you either on a late night stream or another space, or if not, we'll see you guys back here tomorrow for another one. Peace.